On behalf of the Labour Education Centre, I'd like to welcome you here this morning. This is the home of the TradeLinks pre-apprentice program and also of our Arabic safety training program. The objective of both of those programs is to give participants the skills and the tools that they need to pass the entrance exams, the aptitude tests for some of our union partners, so that they can enter enter an apprentice program and go on to be working in the industry. Many of our graduates are currently working on the Eglinton Crosstown Transit program. Many of you would have got caught in the traffic as a result of that construction. A little bit of pain for some gain is what it takes to build rapid transit, light rail transit here in Toronto. You are all here this morning because you have had some role in bringing the community benefits agreements model to Canada. It's a model that originated in the United States, and a few years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, Labour Education Centre was working in the Mount Dennis Weston community, working to figure out how we could get local residents connected with the jobs that we knew were coming as a result of light rail transit. Somebody told us that if you Google community benefit agreements, you'd find actually a whole plethora of resources and experiences of other communities, mostly in the US, but some in the UK, that would be relevant here. And so we adopted that model. It was the Labour Education Centre that made the first grant proposals, first to the Metcalf Foundation, and Colette was the first recipient of a grant application, and we got the grant. And then I've always said a very fortuitous career move was made by Colette shortly after that, where she joined the Atkinson Foundation, where she is now. And one of the first things she did was to ask us to submit an application to Atkinson Foundation. And then shortly after that to the United Way. All three organizations have been continuous and non-stop pushing the community benefit agreements model at the municipal level, at the provincial level, and at the federal level. And it was just not quite 2 years ago, shortly after Ahmed was elected as the Member of Parliament here in York South Weston, that we began to work together to develop a private members bill to bring the community benefit agreements model up to the federal level. And along that journey, a couple of things happened. Ahmed was elevated to the ministry, so that killed his private members bill. So another mechanism had to be found, which has been done. I think it was a year ago, last April, Ahmed and Minister Sohi were here in this very space. We did a roundtable to introduce them to our participants of the day, and to familiarize Minister Sohi with the community benefit agreements model and to demonstrate what it would look like on the ground. So we're very, very pleased to have everyone here today. As I said, everyone in this room has made a contribution to the community benefit agreements model. There's many people that haven't been able to be here this morning that also contributed. It's been a joint project of community, of the industry itself, of Metrolinx, of politicians at all levels, and many civil servants. So we're very glad to be able to host this announcement as to what the federal government's contribution is going to be made to community employment benefits. So I'd like to introduce Ahmed Hussain, the Member of Parliament for York South Weston and Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and I can't remember the citizenship. Welcome, Ahmed.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you all for joining us here this morning. I want to thank the Labour Education Centre for hosting us this morning. and for being a champion of community benefits. On February 24th, 2016, as a newly elected Member of Parliament for York South-Weston, few months into the job, I had the fortunate opportunity of being one of the first MPs to get a slot for private members' bills. And I thought long and hard about what I would like to propose to be my private member's bill. And after some initial research and discussions with constituents, I came to the conclusion that I should use my slot as a private member of Parliament to introduce a bill entitled Community Benefits. And that bill, the spirit behind that bill was based on the notion that federal infrastructure projects, federal building, repair and maintenance projects should be based on the notion that moving forward, that those projects should require contractors to identify the community benefits that those projects can have an impact on the local community. And those benefits could include, but are not limited to, jobs, training, housing, green space, or any other benefit that the community would identify, which would mean that the contractor would somehow have to consult the community and see what the local community would like to see from that building maintenance and infrastructure, maintenance and repair project. So I pursued the bill, and I relied heavily on all the stakeholders that you mentioned, the academics, the papers that were published, and learning from the examples of some of the community benefit agreements that were in place in the United States, but also in municipalities all across Canada. And through that, we were able to get assistance in learning how to really shape the bill moving forward. The bill was introduced on February 24th, 2016. It passed first reading, it went to second reading, then it went to committee, and miraculously came out of committee intact. And it was slated to come for a third reading vote on the Thursday of the week when the House rose on the Wednesday. And during the holiday break, I was appointed to Cabinet as Canada's Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship. And because of that, I couldn't push the bill anymore because I was no longer a private member. Luckily, my colleague Ramesh Sangha adopted the bill and had to start from square one, but now it's at third reading stage. I'm very glad of the fact that from the very beginning, when I was drafting the bill, Minister Sohi and his team were very, very supportive, as well as the Minister at the time of Public Works and Government Services. And their teams were very helpful in terms of advising me on the original draft and moving forward and giving me support and encouragement along the way. And I'm proud, therefore, today to take note of the fact that the spirit of and the goal of that bill, my bill, is now embedded in the announcement that Minister Sohi will make to you today. So I want to thank him and his team and all the stakeholders, some of whom are here, for providing me the research and the encouragement to remember the meetings that we had in my constituency office. So it's great to see how moving forward the federal government is not only listening to the members of Parliament, but adopting their policies and their ideas into government policy. So without further ado, I want to welcome my friend and the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities to tell you exactly how the Government of Canada took my idea and not only incorporated it into government policy, but actually expanded the reach of the spirit of that idea. So thank you very much, Minister Sohi. Welcome, and address the community.
Well, thank you, Ahmed, and all of you for being here today. I am so indeed honored to be standing in front of you for this very important announcement. I also want to acknowledge the work of the Education Center, and nice to see apprentices and everyone else who is being trained and whose lives are being touched by this center as well as everyone else. As Minister Hussain mentioned, the first meeting that we had here in in this room to talk about the importance of community benefits, particularly employment opportunities for those who are not benefiting from the economy that we see growing, and that gathering and the input that we were able to gather in that meeting has been very helpful for Ahmed and for me to design what we are announcing today. And out of those conversations, also the private members bill that Minister Hussain talked about and his leadership on that bill, initiating that dialogue about why it matters that those who are excluded from the economy be part of the economy, right? And that conversation has been very helpful in my work in engagement with provinces and municipalities on the infrastructure file. So I really wanted to take this opportunity and acknowledge the leadership of Minister Hussain on this file. As Minister responsible for infrastructure and communities, I am really fortunate that I get to travel throughout the country from coast to coast to coast, from big cities like Montreal to rural and northern communities like Takatiaktak and other communities. And everywhere I go, every person has a story to tell. That story is about whether they came here to Canada as adult immigrants like myself, or like in case of Minister Hussain, whether they came here as a youth refugee, a person seeking opportunities or fleeing from violence, or you were born here, or your parents or grandparents came here earlier on, or you're part of our indigenous peoples, right? And I think all of us have a very unique story to tell, and also very important that those stories are shaping our country, and every Canadian deserves an equal opportunity to participate in the economy. But as I said earlier, unfortunately, not every Canadian has the opportunity to participate in the economy. And that is why our government, from the day we took office, we started focusing on the middle class and those who work hard each and every day to be part of the middle class. So what we did first, the first action we took was to lower taxes for those middle class Canadians who work hard each and every day. We also took a step to invest in families with children. The Canada Child Benefit that some of you might be able to access is actually making a real and meaningful and tangible difference in the lives of our families, in the lives of children. It is lifting more than 300,000 children out of poverty, and 9 out of 10 families are getting more support under our government than they did under the previous administration. And we also believe that infrastructure is the foundation of building stronger communities. And we should look for opportunities where infrastructure can provide for us to be gainfully employed. So those are the steps that we have been taking. And so when we were designing our investing in infrastructure plan, which is to invest $186 billion over the next decade, we met with our provincial representatives, we met with municipal officials, stakeholders like you who were here earlier on to have their input, indigenous peoples, and the representatives from key industries, including construction industry as well as labor unions. We know that there's a growing demand for skilled labor created by infrastructure investments. And we also heard that these groups of people who have been challenged accessing, there are a number of people who have faced challenge accessing employment. That is why I am very excited to speak to you about Infrastructure Canada's new community employment benefit requirement. The new community employment benefits requirement applies to major projects submitted for federal funding under the new bilateral agreements we are signing with provinces and territories. It also applies to the Smart Cities Challenge as well as all projects submitted under new Disaster Mitigation and Adaptation Fund. Specifically, the requirement is designed to ensure our project partners consider training and employment opportunities for underrepresented groups during the development stage of their projects. These are the groups like indigenous peoples, women, persons with disabilities, veterans coming home after serving our country, youth, apprentices that we see here in this room, and recent immigrants, people who have a lot to contribute to the success of our infrastructure projects and the success of our communities, who have been traditionally had difficult time accessing the type of opportunities they want and need to succeed. Project partners are also asked to look for how local businesses could benefit from working on these projects, how to create procurement opportunities for small and medium-sized businesses, and social enterprises. It is very important for us to recognize the role that social innovation is happening in our communities, how we can support. By providing more opportunities for a range of underrepresented groups, the employment benefits encourage more inclusive participation and help build more inclusive communities. Over the long term, the new requirement will help ensure that more Canadians are able to pursue their livelihoods through working in and supporting the construction sector and the related industries. We want this type of thinking to become a routine for us and our partners to help incent employment for these groups and achieve better results and outcomes for all Canadians. Infrastructure is all about people. It is more than buildings that we see. It's more than roads and bridges that we travel on and utilize. It is all about building stronger communities and investing in people. So as we move forward, our thinking around infrastructure has to change. We're trying to change that thinking, because we really believe that investing in infrastructure is not just about structures, it's about investing in people, investing in communities, and helping build stronger, inclusive, welcoming places for all of us to live in. So thank you so much for having us here today. And finally, thank you so much the leadership that you have provided in helping us to be where we are today. We would not be standing announcing this very important initiative if you weren't there to lead the work that you have done for over a number of decades to be us where we are. So thank you so much for your leadership, and thank you very much.
I just want to give a special shout out to folks here today from the Toronto Community Benefits Network, an organization that has been built along with the initiative for community benefits. I know there's some staff and a former board member fresh off the board earlier this week. And I also want to acknowledge in the crowd Sean Keddy, who's working in Peel Region to build the Peel Community Benefit Network. I've been involved in organizations in Halton and Hamilton where they're also building community benefit networks. So together with the TCBN, the Toronto Community Benefit Network, and other organizations across the region, and hopefully soon across Canada, the model is healthy, it's strong, and it's building. So we have a little opportunity for mingling, and I think Gavin and Mustafa are going to be leading some of the participants of our programs to do a bit of a demonstration. I want to finally say that the objective of both the Trade Links program and the Arabic construction program is to equip participants with the skills and tools that they need to enter the apprentice programs run by our union partners. The Toronto Community Benefits Network is a partnership of community and labour, and that's why one of the reasons that it's been very strong over the last number of years and is going to be even stronger going in the future. Thank you all for coming this morning.